All right, guys, I think I figured out how I'm going to segment this out to make it work. At least the first section. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a primary cut right here with the Sawzall, and I'm going to lay this bad boy horizontal, and then I'm going to make it come out of this wall, and it runs out about 3 feet left to right. And then what I'll do, once I establish where that cut's going to be, my plumb cut's going to go, I'm going to use these 2 sections to hold up a shelf. So I'll cut these level. Once I get that established with my plumb cut, I'll put it against the wall, throw a level on these, get a level line, and then cut those on the chop saw. And then I'll run a 3-foot shelf into the corner with a cleat, of course, along the wall. And then I'll probably do something similar with this other section of root. Unfortunately, I don't think this main trunk line is going to be utilized. I was trying to get it to come out of the wall on the bottom and then kind of meander up the wall and hold up 3 different shelves, but the way it's spread super wide and tall, 7 foot overall and almost 5 feet, doesn't really work in the space. So I think for now I'll segment this, and then I'll kind of establish it where I'm going to have it on the wall, and then we'll go from there. So stick with me. All right, guys, I'm back at it today. Today is going to be the day where I do the layout, and I get this this shelf situated inside the living room with a natural piece of cedar. I'm going to go in there, bring you guys along for the ride, put it on the wall, kind of figure out my angles as I go, and then see what I come up with. So once we get everything dry fitted and angled where I need to be, I'm going to work on the shelf. I've got a piece of pine. I'm going to use pine today, a piece of clear pine, 1x10, and I'm going to probably use both halves. I'm going to do 2 shelves eventually, and I'm going to probably put a radius on the corners, round over the edges, sand it good, and then throw some stain on it and let it dry, and then we'll figure out the mounting procedure. So let's go back inside and we'll get this thing laid out. Alright, guys, so I'm going to be going and learning and doing this as I go on the fly. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have it come out of the wall like that somehow, out of the corner, and then cut here, cut there as far as level goes, and go with that. And then maybe possibly use whatever I cut off above on the fall off to screw to the bottom of the shelf so it looks, you know, kind of like I have a tree growing through my shelf. But for now, that looks like a pretty good spot, I think. As far as height goes, I think maybe up here would be too high, or maybe not. Maybe I come out of the corner, cut there and there. Either way, the angle is going to be the same. So I'm going to scribe it there with a pencil, same angle as the wall, and then carry that number over to here. Looks like it's going to be like that. Yeah, got a pretty good eye for angles. All right, I got it marked. All right, let's go outside and get this thing cut. All right, guys, if you can see that, this little angle right here, I don't know if the camera can see that. Continue that angle, that trajectory with my speed square all the way down, and then I can eyeball it to this corner, to this edge, around the same amount. Just kind of look at that distance, make sure it's straight. Put a nice line on there. I should use a Sharpie, but that should be, as long as I'm in the ballpark, I can adjust to sit flush on the wall. kind of see there, and I'll just go with that on the saw. Alright guys, looks to be roughly around 30 degrees. I can eyeball it, maybe it's like 37, 38. And don't bust on my saw. There's no guard. I'm using it like this for years. All the haters out there. I haven't caught myself yet. So yeah, I'll just adjust this over until I see it's in the ballpark. I think a little less actually. That looks reasonable right there. Lock down the angle and fire away. Look at that grain. Woo, that's a tight grain. And that angle right there should sit nice and flat on the wall. So let's go and check it out. All right, so the lighting is terrible, I apologize, but I'm gonna sit it, I've decided I'm gonna sit on top of this chair rail, on top of this capping. If you can see, that angle is near perfect for what I want to do. Now what I'll do is I'll hold it in place and mark these two top pieces with a 2-foot level, and right here and here get a good mark. That'll be my shelf height, and then I can run my cleat on the wall, and I can adjust as I go. So I'm not really married, but I definitely want to have it sitting there. That way I don't have to put an anchor through excuse me, through the base to hold into the wall, which I still probably will. I'm going to countersink an anchor, a butterfly anchor, into the drywall because I don't have a stud here. I got a stud here and I got a stud in the corner, but nothing here in the middle. And then I'll just figure out my shelf, and then I'll figure out the other piece. So this is going to be pretty cool. All right, let's get that thing marked. Okay, I'm marked now pretty evenly. Like I said, I can always mess with it a little bit if I need to, but the bubble's in the middle of the two lines. So I'm going to cut that there, cut this little nub there, and cut this right there. It looks pretty good above all this dead section. Like I said, I'll probably reserve these two top pieces and run them through the top of the shelf so it looks kind of authentic. We're going to go with that, and then make sure it's level going back. That's important too. But I can wrap that around somehow. And I think we're good. All right, this is cool. Front. Okay, let's do this. All right, guys. As I readjust here, I'm angled for the first cut. It's kind of hard to get it where I need it to be. I got to hold it down with my man clamps while I eyeball the angle and get it right where I need it to be. Difficult because I've got these, I'm cutting something that's unorthodox, but I like to be as close as I can. All right, fire in the hole. All right, one down. Now this one, much of the same. Alright, there's our shelf, I think. Let's go inside and check it out. Okay, she's going to be here, right where it's supposed to be. Yep, I still got to make these angles a little better. These aren't right. The height's good, but I got to cut it back. Yeah, I didn't account for that. But like I said, it's work in progress. All right, let me mark this up and get back. All right, guys, I think I've got it. Harder than I thought. When I had the idea, I was like, oh, easy peasy. I'll just cut some wood and make it right and just fit it. What a pain. and it's kind of still not right. I can't get this top angle. It's so weird. Like, I keep putting it. Maybe if I just rotate it a little bit. That's closed. That's fair. But I gotta come over a little bit more on that angle. I don't want to raise it up anymore because the corner will open. I have a mark on the wall where I want it to be, and that's right where I need it to be. But I gotta take a little bit more off on the inside. The left one's good. The right one is a struggle. Bubbles where it needs to be. Got a gap on the right. I'm gonna take a little bit more off of here. Trying to keep this nub. I go like 3/16 to nothing on that. Let's see if I can pull that off on the saw. Be right back. All right, guys. So I'm trying to work out the angles on the actual natural shelf bracket. I'm getting pretty close with the level, but it's not really giving me a true point of reference. So what I'm doing is I'm going to cut my piece of pine shelving for that particular spot and lay it on there and see what I come up with as far as the level goes. Level is important when you're putting books up there and tchotchkes and whatever else we're going to put there. You don't want everything rolling off, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this piece. I'm going to bring it inside. I'm going to do some fitment and see where I got to go with the natural bracket. And by the way, I've had so much trouble cutting with this saw, with that stick, that I resorted to using my grinder with the sanding wheel to get my angles and kind of adjust where I got to be. So I'm going to continue to use this. If I have to adjust some more, and we'll go from there. So let's get this bad boy cut. And we'll go inside and see what we got to do. Okay, go check it out. Okay, here's my somewhat close. And look, guys, what I did on the wall here, just in case you want to reference yourself, see the marks I put there? Those are kind of where I needed it to stay while I shot my angles and try to get this thing correct. So what I'm doing is lining up where I had it marked with the pencil on the wall, both walls. Kind of keep it there so I don't lose the aesthetic that I'm looking for. And then I don't lose these angles at the same time. So I've got a 2-foot level there. Let's get my piece of pine here. And make sure I don't hurt the other walls. Hold it with my shoulder. This is a hot mess. Look away. Look away. Just look away. Hold it with my mouth. I think that one looks pretty good in the front. I still have some adjustments to make in the back one. I think I can probably cheat it a little bit. It's where it is. It's where it needs to be. I definitely have some adjustments to make on this front one here to get it where I need it to be. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it as I'm looking at it while I'm holding with my shoulders and getting this bottom part where it needs to be. The front's good. The back is so close. I see what I have to do, and then I'll go back outside and do it. All right, guys. Back to the fitment game. Okay, it's where it is. Hold with shoulder. Insert level. dead level there. I think that's pretty good. I think I can go a little bit more on that front one. Let me show you if I can do it with the camera. You can see it's just a little bit off. Front one's pretty tight. Back one's got to come maybe an eighth, a heavy eighth to nothing. Right to left. And we'll do that a little bit more and we'll come back. Alright guys, this is my last dry fit, dry run, whatever you want to call it. Okay, that's pretty good where it's got to be. Insert shelf, hold with shoulder, check level. Pretty much dead level right there, it's pretty good. And then the back, how the hell does that look worse? I rotate it and cheat it a little bit. I think it looks pretty good. That's a winner. Okay. And then front to back level. No, I'm not going to check that. What I got to do now is prepare a cleat on the wall, do a radius on the shelf, round over, and then we'll do the installation. As I messed up the wall. But don't worry, I know the painter. Okay guys, got my radius, a small radius I'm going to do. And I'm going to round everything over and make it look nice. Looks good. A little furry, need a new blade, but hey, it looks good. Alright team, I got some clampy poos. Let's get this clamped down here. My fishing tackle is in the way. No, I don't have a really good place to do woodworking, but it works for me, I think. This is an old butcher block I use as a workbench. And whatever works. I make it work. I make nice stuff. Alright guys, so I have my, let me grab you guys. I have my radius. I have a laminate trimmer with a round over bit. I'm going to round over the top to the corner here and then round over the bottom. So the whole shelf will be rounded over. I'll hit it with some sandpaper and take it from there. Let's get it plugged in. Somewhere over here. I got a lot of cords going on here. Too much. Alright. Sorry for moving you guys around. Okay, we good here? You can see, right? Okay, let's go. Max power. Is she plugged in? Oh no, it's not plugged in. Turn it off. Unplug jigsaw. Plug-in router. There we go. Always pull towards you. Okay, that looks pretty good. This looks pretty good. Nice little clean round over. A little joggy on the corner, but I'll clean it up with some sandpaper. Let's flip her over and do the other side. Okay guys, take Okay guys, she's all rounded over. She's all rounded over. Hit that with some sandpaper. I also have to rip off about a 1/2 inch, 3/4 off the back of this shelf to use as a cleat for the wall. So that'll be coming up. I won't film that, that's kind of basic, but you get the point. Alright guys, this is going to be the tricky part. I've made the cleat here. I've marked out the studs so I have a secure connection for the shelf. And then I have the shelf here, which is rounded over nicely. I sanded it off camera so I didn't bore you with that detail. For now I've opted for natural. I don't have my wife's not here to help me make the decision on staining or just opposed to maybe just a clear poly on this. Poly goes with the white trim in here that we have already in the light blue finish. And I had picked out a red chestnut this morning at Home Depot or Lowe's, but I've opted. It didn't really look good on the sample piece I did, so I'm gonna just opt for just a clear coat. I can always tape this off and clear coat it while it's up there. But that'll be a later date. That'll be a decision that will be made later when my wife comes home. So this is gonna be kind of tricky. How I'm gonna do this, I don't know. I don't even know where this is gonna lie, how it's gonna sit. I mean, I have an idea, but having to hold everything up and level everything at the same time as I'm doing everything else and with the piece of wood and whatever. We'll see. Let's get the piece here. I have a level handy. Let's get our piece. I gotta have everything nearby. Let's have this handy, the drill gun in my belt so I can grab everything I need. Oh, see, I told you. Really, 2 hands would be great. Okay, why am I having a moment here? Jeez. Jeez Louise. Oh, stay. 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 That's there. Let's drop it a little bit. I think once I get this established right there, I think I could probably let it go, the bottom piece of wood, and then put the cleat up and call it good, I think. I like that way, the way that looks. Okay. Oh, shit. Pardon my French. Okay, let's drop that. Let's get this extra weight off. Let's put the cleat up here. All right, that's where it's got to be. Okay, now we get that off. Okay. Told you it wasn't going to be easy. 3 drilled holes are always good. Okay, hit the stud. Oh, I need a new tip. Need a new tip. Right back. Okay, so cleats on the wall, right where it was leveled. Struck level on the wall, dead level. Now, I really wish I had 2 people, but okay, I know that's level. I don't need to do that. Hold that there. I should maybe put some screws back here to hold it up, right? I don't think it's necessary. Maybe it will be. Can I just do this? Not gonna work. I put 2 screws there. I don't think it's going to hold it. I think it's going to flop down. So I'm going to have to hold this and kind of eyeball it where the holes on top need to go. Because don't forget, I got to screw this into the top of the shelf. At the same time, I could probably eyeball it, right? I think I could probably eyeball it. Right there. Okay. I can eyeball that. Right there. Right there. Yeah, that's good. Okay, let's get that pre-drilled. Get some screws in there. Oh, be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. I pre-drilled all my connections for the cleat in the back. Pre-drilled my holes for the natural piece of wood, and now I'm actually going to hold it in place and pre-drill. Am I still recording? Yes. The best I can. This might be impossible. Pre-drill into the log so I don't split anything. And make sure my holes are in the right spot. Looks pretty good. That's where she needs to be. I believe that's it. Okay, can I hold that where it's got to be? Hold with my head, maybe? Okay. Screw gun. Screw. Oh. Go. I don't think it was in the right spot. Swing and a miss. Oh my God. Take 2. So guys, I saved you the pain and torment of watching me struggle to get these holes screwed into this here wood. So here it is, almost finished. Like I said, I'm going to finish this at some other point. Maybe my wife and I will decide on a color or just leave it like this. But I brought them to bring you guys back so we can work on the finishing touches. So I have these pieces I cut off to fabricate this entire shelf, because I wasn't going to be able to use it all, but I wanted to save these so it looks, you know, a little bit more realistic. So, you know, I've got a tree growing through one of my shelves in my house. So I'm going to glue the bottoms of these and shoot them with brads because I have no way to screw them. So I'm just going to put a couple of brads in there and call it good. And hopefully it works out as planned. Glue the bottom good. Cedar's really a tight grain, so I don't know how well it's gonna, the glue's gonna work, but I think over time, I think we'll be all right. Then we're gonna get this where we gotta be. Step back and eyeball it a little bit. I think that's pretty good. Right angle where it was. And brad away. Voila. That worked out pretty good. Let's do the same thing with the other one. Hope you guys have a good vantage point of all this work. If you have any questions about anything, I was a carpenter by trade for many years in New York, and now I just kind of do it for fun. I'm more on the management side. So if you have any questions about anything, drop a comment down below. But let's get this lined up with the decayed part on the bottom and make sure our lines are good. This one's going to be tough. I have not much nailing surface to go with, so I'm just going to go best I can with one. Let the glue do the rest. There we go, folks. I think that's pretty cool. Now we are going to put some LEDs in the back. I did route out a little area for a small LED strip just to backlight that, make it pop a little bit. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed that build. Hit me up if you have any questions. Capt.Gringo out.